Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to demystify one of the biggest headaches in business, marketing attribution. We're talking about finally connecting the dots, from that very first click all the way to the sale, so you can actually know what's working.
I mean, this is the question, right? Is your marketing money actually doing anything? You're pouring cash into all these different channels, ads, emails, social media, but when it comes down to it, can you really point to what's driving sales? For most people, the data is just so messy and disconnected that it all feels like a big guessing game.
And look, getting this wrong isn't just about a missed opportunity. It has real costs. In fact, studies show that if you're measuring your marketing the wrong way, you could be slashing your ROI by as much as 12%. That's a huge hit to the bottom line.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll unpack the attribution puzzle. Then, we'll get into the weeds with UTMs, the basic tool for tracking, and talk about the huge flaw in how most people measure success. From there, we'll look at seeing the whole customer journey and wrap up with the AI solution that's changing everything, making marketing smarter and way more profitable.
Okay, so let's start with the puzzle itself. Why is this so darn hard? Well, the core of the problem is that the customer journey is almost never a straight line from point A to point B.
Just think about your own experience, right? Before you buy something, you might see an ad on Instagram. Then a week later, you search for it on Google and click an ad, and then maybe you open a promo email. That's 3 or 4 different touch points right there. And for bigger purchases, it can be as many as 8. It creates this complex, tangled web that's just a nightmare to figure out.
So how do we start to make sense of all this chaos? Well, marketers have a fundamental tool in their belt, the UTM parameter. So what the heck is a UTM? Think of it like a digital breadcrumb. It's just a little snippet of text you add to the end of a URL, and it tells your analytics exactly where that visitor came from. You know, was it from Facebook? Was it from a paid ad? Was it part of your big spring sale? It's the absolute foundation of tracking everything. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. Creating these things manually for every single link is a total grind. And worse, it's super easy to mess up. A single typo, a slightly different campaign name, and poof, the whole tracking chain breaks. Your data gets corrupted, and you can't trust your analytics anymore.
Because it's so complicated and risky, a lot of people just throw their hands up and default to the simplest way to measure things. The problem is, the simplest way is also the most misleading, and that's last-click attribution.
I love this analogy. Last click is like giving all the credit to the soccer player who scores the goal and completely ignoring the rest of the team who passed the ball and set up the shot. It gives 100% of the credit for a sale to the very last thing a customer clicked on and pretends nothing else ever happened.
And this chart just shows you how bad the distortion is. Look at this. Research proves that last click constantly undervalues the stuff that builds awareness at the start of the journey, like display ads. Meanwhile, it massively overvalues the channels that are just there at the finish line, like when someone finally searches for your brand name to buy. It gives you a totally warped picture of reality.
So clearly, we need a better way. We have to see the entire journey, not just the last step. So let's talk about the smarter models that try to do just that.
And what's cool is that modern tools are catching up. You can see here, platforms like Google Analytics 4 now give you a whole menu of different attribution models to choose from. It's basically them admitting, yeah, last click is broken, and we know different touchpoints matter differently.
Okay, so these are called multi-touch models. They try to spread the credit around based on different rules. You've got linear, which gives every touchpoint equal credit. You've got position-based, which gives more credit to the first and last touches. They're all a big improvement, but the real powerhouse here is data-driven. Instead of using some fixed rule, it uses an algorithm to look at your data and figure out what actually worked. That's the gold standard.
But okay, trying to manage all this, pick the right model, it's still a huge challenge, right? And that's exactly where AI comes into the picture and changes the game.
So AI basically attacks this problem from 2 angles. First, it automates all that boring, tedious work we talked about, getting rid of human error. And second, it powers the smartest possible analysis, taking you from just looking backward to actually predicting the future.
So on the automation side, it's pretty clever. A machine learning model just ingests all your past campaign data. It literally learns what success looks like for you. And then it just starts automatically generating perfect, consistent UTMs for all your new campaigns. It saves a ton of time and, more importantly, it gets rid of those costly mistakes.
But the analysis side is where things get really exciting. AI is the brain behind those data-driven models. It can crunch thousands, even millions of customer journeys and spot patterns a human could never see.
Like maybe it discovers that for your business, a video view followed by 2 emails is the magic combo. That's how it reduces bias by up to 32%. It's not guessing, it's learning.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot of technical stuff. But why does it matter? What's the bottom line? Well, when you get this right, the business impact is real and it's fast. Let's look at the proof.
Get this. There's a case study of a SaaS company that switched to a data-driven model. They just took the insights, shifted their budget around to what was actually working, and boom, they increased their total conversions by almost 13%. And here's the kicker. They didn't spend 1 cent more on advertising.
And it gets better. At the same time, they were able to cut the cost of getting a new customer by over 14%. This wasn't magic. They just finally truly understood what each of their marketing channels was worth.
And you know, this whole field is moving at lightning speed. With big things like the death of third-party cookies and new privacy laws, the industry is being forced to get even smarter. We're seeing new, privacy-first methods that can even connect what you do online with what happens offline.
So here's what I really want you to take away from all this. Attribution isn't just some nerdy technical thing for your data people. It is a massive strategic decision. The model you choose can literally change a channel's ROI by 30 or 40%. That's a decision that shapes your entire marketing budget.
So, you get the data, you know what worked. Now what? Because that's the real question, isn't it? What are you going to do next? Once you have that clarity, that's when the real work and the real growth can truly begin.